Oh my God, you guys come in here, sit down and shut the door. I know you were still reeling from the federal government dropping the most emotionally charged offenses against Diddy. And I put my ear to the ground and I'm seeing what is being said. But here's the thing we have to talk about, just keep your mind open, because at this point, we have to talk about everything, not just the things that we know, not just the things we want to believe, but what actually may be happening now. We need to talk about Diddy and how what the feds did might be his road to pardon. Okay, here's the truth. Everyone's whispering, but no one's saying outright, did he cut a secret deal with the feds? I know, but hear me out. Just because the government okay, hear me out. Let me organize the thoughts. Let's get into this because the government just dropped all the state charges: kidnapping, attempted arson, aiding, smacks, trafficking gone, and all that's
President,
left are
and no
federal
longer
charges.
has a
And
voice
if
who
you've
will
been paying
pursue
attention,
justice
you
for her
already know
accusation.
you can't be pardoned for state
As of the
conviction,
Aiken against
but you
Diddy,
can be pardoned
no
for
expansion of the
federal
investigation,
ones. And our
no
president
isolation
has
orders,
signaled that
no
if he
equipment
sees
access,
evidence
no
that
suspension of attorney
Sean Diddy
communication.
Combs was being treated unfairly, he would consider a pardon. Those were his words, not mine. Google it. And I didn't want to believe the whispers at first, but y'all, they're getting louder. What if the feds want this case to be federal only? And what if Diddy gave them something or someone behind closed doors? And if so, what does this mean for justice, for the victims, and for the truth? Don't worry, y'all. I got the receipts. I got the legal play by play, and I'm going to walk you through everything. The headlines won't tell you. Y'all, let's go. Okay. Now, just to catch you up to speed, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, late money prosecutors dropped some of the most dramatic charges against Sean Diddy Combs. You guys know that was the attempted kidnapping under California and New York law, attempted arson, and aiding sex trafficking. Okay, now officially they're calling it streamlining of jury instructions, but off the record in back rooms, people are nervous, they're whispering, and they're wondering, because this isn't just about legal strategy. This might be about a secret deal. Think about it. The state charges were the most graphic, most specific, and the hardest to erase. With a pin stroke, you can't get a presidential pardon for a state conviction, but for federal charges, you can. Okay, since they've erased all state and they only leave federal quests standing, you have to question, did he hand over names, locations, or footage that helped build a bigger case? And is this the price of playing with power? At this level, protection in exchange for silence. Because here's the dangerous truth. If this was a quiet cooperation deal, it helps Diddy in more ways than one. First, it makes him look less dangerous. See, you guys, no kidnapping, no arson, just your friendly neighbor pervert. Second, it creates the appearance that the case is weakening, just appearance softening, public outrage, just in time for the defense's big finish, which is their closing argument. And third, and this is the part people are forgetting, it opens the door to a future pardon. Remember, federal crime can be erased by a presidential signature, but state convictions sit so. The question becomes, did the federal government just remove the only thing standing between Diddy and a clean political escape? And while we're asking these questions, listen, because some people are like, oh, don't worry, the state's gonna bring up charges. Well, I have a question. Where are the state prosecutors? Why haven't California and New York DAs stepped up and said, we'll pursue those charges ourselves? Their silence speaks volumes, and I'm going to walk you through everything, whether it's legally possible for Diddy to cut a deal without public knowledge, how a presidential pardon could play out, and why the absence of state-level action right now is either strategy or surrender. You guys stay with me, because once you understand this map, you'll see exactly what path they might be paving. Okay, let's walk you through this like it's a legal trademark. The feds dropped only state-based crimes, not federal. Attempted kidnapping, attempted arson, and aiding smacks trafficking. They kept the federal recall, federal smacks trafficking, and forced labor obstruction of justice. Now, what's the legal significance of that? State crimes can't be pardoned by the US president. Federal crimes can. The fact that only unpardonable charges were removed raises the questions, why and why now? Now, some people said, now here's the thing, you have to keep in mind, these aren't state persecutions, they're federal prosecutors trying to use state criminal statutes to help make their case. Now that was rare, it's legal, but it's also very messy. Why did they include them? Because sometimes state definitions cover gaps that federal law doesn't, especially when it comes to violent, coercive conduct. So the $1 million question, if Diddy is cooperating, why drop the state-based counts?
Present,
Well, here's the
and no
plausible
longer has a
cooperation
voice who will
logic.
pursue
State
justice for
law-based
her
charges are
accusation.
easier to drop
As of the
quietly.
taken
They
against
aren't
Diddy,
the headline.
no
Federal
expansion of the
charges,
investigation,
like RICO
no
and
isolation
sex
orders,
trafficking,
no
dropping
equipment
them gives
access,
defense
no
a
suspension
visible
of attorney
win
communication.
without touching the big federal accounts, which the feds still need for leverage, and it signals progress in cooperation without confirming it. No paperwork has to be filed publicly at this stage, so they may have dropped the drop charges may have been a symbolic trade-off. Help us with X, Y, and Z, and we'll make sure those state charges don't follow you after the trial. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people said, like, Robin, my girl, Robin, said, but wouldn't cooperation be on public record? Well, you guys, yes and no, or actually not yet, and sometimes not ever, depending on how the deal is structured. Cooperation agreements are often under seal to protect against active investigations, ongoing targets who might not know they're being watched, and safety of the cooperator. The public usually doesn't find out until sentencing when the prosecution says, Mr. provided substantial assistance. We recommend a lighter sentence under 5K 1.1. That's the federal formal snitch card. So right now, if Diddy is cooperating, they wouldn't want it to be on record again. Taking it to legal deals with cooperators are often sealed under Rule 6E of the Federal Rules Criminal Procedure Grand Jury. Materials, informant deals, and cooperation agreements can be kept secret for national security, safety, or investigative reasons. United States veto courts actually upheld, and this is a 1995 Second Circuit decision, so it rules this case courts upheld sealing cooperative deals to protect identities and preserve ongoing investigations. So yes, Diddy could be cooperating without us ever seeing it publicly. And again, don't forget, cooperating with feds doesn't always look like testifying. It can mean providing names, documents, devices, and even helping decode encrypt evidence. In cases like Operation Varsity Blues, celebrities helped without testifying, but their cooperation was rewarded behind the scenes. This keeps reputations intact and protects the government's leverage and ongoing investigations. Now, the state may stay quiet on purpose. State prosecutors in New York and California have said nothing about refiling or pursuing these drop charges. Why? Possibilities, let's go through them. The feds asks them to stand down during an ongoing broader federal probe. If Diddy is helping build bigger cases, filing state charges too early could expose cooperating witnesses, including Diddy, and political coordination between the DAG and the state AGs is common when elite defendants are involved. Now, this does mirror silent cooperation deals in major cases. Tekashi 69, he cooperated secretly. Feds minimized his charges. No early leaks. Public found out at sentencing. Let's also not forget Sammy the Bull Gravano's case, murder charges dropped because he gave up the entire Gambino hierarchy. We see the pattern drop. Some charges now protect informant cash out later. And let's also not forget that the presidential pardon angle is real. Trump pardoned multiple federal criminals with no public reasoning, including Rob Bigoli, the former Illinois governor convicted of corruption, Michael Flynn, who actually lied to the FBI, and Kodak Black, and Lil Wayne, under federal gun charges. If Diddy is only convicted on federal charges and keeps political connection, strong, Trump, or even a future president, could wipe the all out away in the future. That's why the removal of state charges matters so much. There's also strategic optics. Listen, they are saying that a softened defendant makes pardon easier. There's no kidnapping, no arson, no physical violence and charges anymore. The public of opt shift from monster predator to music mogul who made
present,
mistakes.
and no
It's a
longer
softer
has a
image.
voice who will
It
pursue
makes it
justice for
easier
her
for a future
accusation.
president to justify a
As of
pardon,
the taken against
especially
Diddy,
if Diddy
no
claims he
expansion
was
of the
targeted or
investigation,
canceled.
no isolation
Canceled.
orders,
You guys,
no
this is a
equipment
gamble,
access,
but
no
we have to be
suspension of
honest.
attorney
If you
communication.
look at legal precedences, we've seen it before. Similar federal simplifications were made in Young Thug's trial. The overcomplication led to chaos, and in the Harvey Weinstein retrial, feds narrowed the scope when cases got too emotionally driven or shaky. The strategy is go big or go home, but when you lose nuance, you also risk losing the jury. You guys, again, we are on edge. We're going into court today. They are going to have a legal battle from 12-hour N to 5-hour N. We're going to be in there covering everything. But again, this is all just theory, okay, because nobody really knows why it happened. But all we know is the feds just quietly removed the only charges that couldn't be erased by a president's pen, and no one's saying why. And did he gave them names, documents, or passwords? That deal could stay still forever. But what's not sealed is the fact that the state is saying silent.